some really good FPS.
No, it'll get better. I hope it'll get better when it got into the game. It sure was before. So we'll see. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, hello. This is the. Wait, hold on. Before we start. Do we refer to me as Djruhnke and you as EnderAWiggin?
I mean, we're going to slip up anyway, but just introduce ourselves as the names.
Okay. Hello. This is the Brotherhood of Bacon, and this is Djruhnke
And EnderAWiggin.
and we're doing a little first look type thing at Endless Space, a new 4X game that has recently been in alpha and beta, and as of 4th of July becomes a full game. So this is a look at the beta. Start a new game here. You can set it up for single player, private multiplayer, public multiplayer. So we're just going to do a private multiplayer between me and Andrew, along with some AIs. So
Daniel's played this game a little bit, but I haven't played it at all, so excuse my newbery.
yeah, it's going to be a learning process. So you guys can all take a check out at the game and watch us probably get ripped apart by the AI, but we'll see. I probably have to invite you. Let's see. Okay, there we go. There he is. So, in Endless Space, there are, as of now, 8 playable factions. The United Empire, the Sophons, the Hisho, the Amoeba, the Cravers, Horatio, the Sowers, and the Pilgrims. And if you take a look here, they all have a significant amount of lore attached to them, which is pretty interesting. If you ever get the game and get a chance to check it all out, there's some interesting stuff to it. And there's also each faction has their own bonuses that make them a little unique, and also minuses that hurts them. Anyway, I will be playing as a random faction.
I haven't decided what I'm going to play at. Maybe I'll play as a random faction too. How about that?
Okay, sounds good. And we'll leave the AI as random. So there's a lot of customization options while setting up the game. You can choose the shape of your galaxy. Spiral is the galaxy spirals out and has a certain number of arms that you set up with it. The disk, an elliptical galaxy are proto-galaxies before the formation of distinguishable arms. This creates games with fewer travel restrictions.
Oh my god,
I'll invite you back, hold on. And there's Ovoid, an old galaxy whose arms have disappeared, forming a stretched elliptical galaxy. It's like a flattened disk galaxy. And finally, Twin Elliptical, which are similar to Ovoid. Let me just bring back our friend EnderAWiggin here. Okay, so
hopefully I won't crash when we're actually playing.
what if we did like a Spiral 4 galaxy and just played with you, me, and 2 AIs, so we all have our own arm to the galaxy.
Sounds good.
Okay. And I kind of like. What do you think? What side should we play?
Maybe medium, so we have some chance of finishing this.
Okay, 4 empires. Advanced options, medium. Okay, we're gonna leave these pretty much standard, but as you can see, yeah, wormholes are another way of traveling, which you need a certain technology to discover so that before you can travel there. So as you can see, there's lots of different options, but we'll just stick with the typical stuff. Normal difficulty, that'll probably be too hard for us anyway. And game speed normal.
I don't know why you keep underestimating. I'm like a natural.
Okay, you're all talk. We'll leave all the victory conditions on right now. They're a little unspecified, but you can read about them here. They're just typical 4X type game victories: domination, science, economic expansion,
And what is 4X?
4X is a genre of games, much like, for example, the popular Civilization 5, where it stands for 4 different X words, which I don't remember. It's like expansion, exploration, extermination, something to that effect. But basically, turn-based computer strategy games, and this is a space 4X game because it takes place in space, believe it or not. So let's get started.
I'm ready. It's kind of a long countdown, isn't it?
Are you serious? A 60-second countdown? Oh god.
Can we skip the countdown?
I can edit it out. But for those, in case we don't edit it out, you're along for the ride. Oh gosh, this is horrible. Oh man.
They should do like a little blast off thing for the real game. So it's like a countdown to blast off.
Well, you blast off it. You count on T-minus 10 seconds, not 60.
No, it's more than that. For actual rockets.
It's...
But people just don't start counting out loud until 10.
Yeah, when no one needs a 60-second countdown in the game, my god.
Wait, I'm getting cold feet.
And you're in for the ride. It's...
Cancel, no. Too late.
Get ready.
I wasn't ready before. After that 60 seconds. Oh, am I the
So based off
Empire?
Based off this loading screen, it appears that I will probably be playing the He Show, which are a fairly strong military faction that also their lore is that they kind of descended from the avian gene, like birds. So they kind of have bird-looking ships.
So this way you can betray me like you did in Civ 5.
And it looks like Andrew will be playing the Empire. Okay. So let's get started.
Can you rename your planet?
Yeah, you can. Or you can name your home system by clicking up here, and then your planets are just the home system, and then however many, like there are 1, 2, 3. So you can see here we start out with some nice luxury resources, but I probably have to get the technology before that opens up, and then 2 other planets which I am not going to be able to colonize for a while. But we have this. So yeah, just click on the planet.
Ah.
You're holding down the mouse, so that's why it's not. Okay, so you can exploit your planet by selecting one of these 4 things. They provide a different resource. The resources are referred to as FIDs, and the reason they're called FIDs is because it stands for the 4 different resources: food, as you can see here; industry, which is like production, it helps you build stuff; food helps you grow; dust, which is the economy in the game; and finally science, so it stands for FIDs. So we want our plant to grow, and so we're gonna exploit evolved soils. So Primus 1 will start doing that.
I'm also doing that.
Okay.
I'm on a Terran world, so.
So this is just a look at the planet view. And this is a galaxy view. You can see we have a few stars next to us, which we'll have to get to explore. Farther look at the whole galaxy there. You can see the 4 arms: 1, 2, 3, 4, and most likely everyone's just located on their own arm. So We have 3 heroes available, which we can take a look at in a sec. You can't hire them until you have enough dust, though, so we'll look at them later. Heroes can either govern your planets or command your fleets. I gotta say, the multiplayer's the processing's having a little harder time than it does in single player.
Yeah, mine's especially having some difficulties.
So you start out with a scout ship and a colony ship. Mine's called a nest ship, kind of like the avian birds, they have nests. So we're just gonna start scouting around. This white sun right here seems fairly close to us, so let's go check that out, and maybe we will send our scout ship after it if we like what we see. Okay, Pictor. Click into here. See, it's got lava, Arctic, tundra, and barren, all fairly harsh environments, and as you can see by the display, the 4 orange dots means there's 4 planets there, none of which I can colonize. You look back at Primus, there's 1 blue dot, which means colonize, and 2 orange, which means I can't colonize those. And uncolonized places that you are able to colonize are white colored. So let's keep moving this guy around. He still has 1 movement point, so we'll head him out to this protostar. We're just going to leave our scout ship at home just so we can move it to where we want to when we feel like it's a good time.
I'm having some trouble here. Can I not hire any?
You don't have enough dust yet.
So I just minimize them and wait.
Dismiss them.
Oh,
You can access your heroes at this screen right here. I have no active heroes right now, and these are the heroes we have to choose from, which we can inspect later, but I'm going to hold off on that.
So how do I move my ships again?
Select your ship by left clicking on them, and then you can right click on different stars you can move them to. See, you have both your fleets selected there, so you move both your colony ship and your scout ship.
Well, that's okay.
Anyway, so research, you click this microscope symbol up here, and you will notice we have a 4-petal research flower here. It extends off in 4 different directions, and as the symbol suggests, one direction is science, one's for exploration and expansion, one is diplomacy and trading, and one is galactic warfare.
Should I be able to see into this?
You've not arrived at that star yet, so you cannot.
So yours will just closer than mine.
Yeah, I went to a star that was close enough that my scout ship could reach it. Okay, so let's see what we got here. I'm probably gonna look to get some colonization abilities because I want to be able to colonize planets. On Primus, we have a barren and a gas helium. I know from playing this before that that's not going to happen for a while. On Pictor, we have Arctic and tundra. So let's look at our research here. We can colonize tundra if we get xenobotany. So let's start researching xenobotany. And that'll be our first research.
I think I'm going to go straight for weapons so I can defend myself against damage.
We do have pirates in the game, so it might not be such a bad idea to get some weapons. Here's the diplomacy screen, which we can see there's 3 other players, but I have not met any of them. So we'll take a closer look at that once we run into some.
Here's a hint, I'm one of them.
And here talks about our general empire status. You can see I'm earning 6 dust a turn with a 40% tax rate, and I have 45 total fids. Now you can adjust your tax rate up or down. It'll make you more money if it's higher, but if it's higher, your people are less happy. So let's jump them up to 70% happiness, so that they'll be more productive if they're happy, and make us more fids. We'll make a little less money, but I'm not too worried about that right now. Now, one thing I don't know, which I should, I have not taken a close look at the He Show special abilities. So we'll just play blindly right now because we're all learning.
Okay, so I've done my research and I've done my movement. What else do I have to do?
Okay, so the game will pick up a lot later. There's going to be a lot, like many 4X games, there's a lot of ending turns in the beginning. So if you don't need to hire heroes or manage any of your fleets, then you can pretty much next turn as soon as you've done your movement and research.
Okay.
The game. Oh wait, except for production.
Oh, production. Okay.
Yeah, make sure your colonies are always producing something. Like,
So how do I do that?
well, you already are producing.
Oh, okay.
Okay. But one easy way to check that is to go up to your Empire screen. This game has a really nice UI, and you can see here you will see all your star systems. And if you go over to production, you can make sure they're always producing something.
A little bit of a lag.
This next turn.
How do I next turn?
Hit that button. So, end of turn in progress. So we let the AI move, and then we'll get our chance to move for turn 2. That was the first turn of Endless Space. It's a little overwhelming, but with a few hours under your belt, you get used to it.
This is a Steam game, if you hadn't noticed.
Yeah, it's on Steam, so it's purchasable on Steam.
It's in beta.
In beta as of now. Possibly when you see it, it'll probably be already released, since it releases July 4th, which is just in a couple of days. This is a kind of cool new thing that was just added in beta. If you click on this, it executes all planned moves of your fleet, so that your fleet doesn't just sit open space if you don't click them. But I'm just going to do it manually. So, I have no idea how to pronounce that. Djruhnke. Let's take a look at it. So, we can't colonize most of these places, which is typical, but we have a very nice planet here, Djruhnke 4, which is a median Terran. So I think that's what I want to jump on with my colony ship. So we'll take our colony ship here, our nest ship, and start moving it towards Djruhnke.
How do I move my ships again?
You select them, and then you right click on where you want them to go.
Okay. So
That's the expertise of EnderAWiggin there.
oh,
So
I was doing that.
what you see here, check this out, Andrew. This is a wormhole link. Initially in the game, you can easily move along these lines without any technology, but to move along this wormhole, it requires a more advanced technology, which we don't have yet. So you can see I still have 2 movement left, but I'm not able to move to this yellow sun.
Oh, yeah, I see a wormhole link too. So maybe this is a link to each other.
It's possible, but typically the wormholes will link you to the center of the galaxy. So you usually get your own arm to expand. You can see here, this is my arm, and build up in the early game. And by the time you get the warp hole technology, it's a scramble for the center of the galaxy, which I think is a fairly interesting tactic technique of the game.
And look, I can't colonize anything.
So we'll move on to this blue sun over here. It's going to take us an extra turn, but we'll keep scouting. Take a look at Primus, doing pretty well. It's happy. System approval, you can see we get a little extra resources because they're a little happier, which is always good. In a game I recently played, I did not understand the happiness mechanic, and it led to me being desperately behind in science, which I'm determined not to do this game, but we'll see. And I also noticed this is on my medium jungle, I have a planet anomaly. Some planets will be spawned with these anomalies. In this case I have Djruhnke rings. I don't know exactly how to pronounce that, but they look kind of like the rings of Saturn, as you can see if you zoom into this planet, which is pretty cool that the planet represents that. And they can be good or bad. In my case, it's a positive anomaly, which gives me +1 dust per person on the planet, so I make a little more dust. and as well as +2 science, so it makes science a little quicker as well, which is pretty cool. Look at the score by holding your mouse over here. It's not very telling right now because we just started.
Are you red, baby? How can you tell how many movement points your chips have?
If you click on them, yeah, it's the, and we can show the audience too. If you click on them, it's this arrow, that's movement points. That's overall combat strength. You can see I have 0 because this is just a colony ship, and that's the command of the fleet. Early on in the game, you can only have 5 command points, so you can only have so big fleets all stacked together to fight.
How do I select only one of my fleets?
You go, if you have 2 fleets in one space, which I don't have, they will be stacked up on this bottom left screen here. If you click just one of the fleets, you will select only that fleet. And then, if you have multiple ships within that fleet box, you can even just click one of those ships and just singularly select it, so you can move it between fleets, which we'll see later on in the game.
Okay. So I'm trying to move this scout over here.
Are you right clicking? Okay, it might just be slow.
Oh, there we go. Okay. Cool, it's almost there.
Great.
Okay, and I think that's all, right?
I'm standing by, so you can next turn it. The game is pretty handy at not letting you forget about anything. It'll often notifications will drop down when your production is done or when your research is done, so that you don't have to worry about spending turns doing nothing and being ineffective.
Well, that's handy.
It's very handy. Though, if you've played similar games like Civ 5, the thing I like better about that is that in Civ 5, it actually won't let you advance the next turn unless all your cities are producing something and all your units have either moved or passed. In this case, it trusts you a little more. If you've seen the notification that says you're done producing something and then decide to move on and do something else without selecting a production, it will still let you next turn it and not remind you again, so you gotta be careful. Okay, so we have a nest ship that has arrived at Djruhnke, so we can click this button to colonize the star system this fleet is orbiting. Now it shows you a list of all the planets on Djruhnke, 5 of them, and you can choose which one you want to colonize. As of now, there's only one that we're able to colonize, and it's a nice planet that I want to grab quickly, so we're going to colonize the Djruhnke 4, the medium Terran planet. There we go.
What did you start on?
I started on Jungle, the jungle planet. And the planet you start on is dependent on the race you are. So if you play Hisho like I am, you will always start on a jungle planet. There can be different resources on it, and the size can be different, but you're guaranteed to start on a jungle planet like I did. So we'll also continue moving our scouting ship to this blue sun. See what we got here. Wow. Lots of other planets to go to. Siginus, I don't know exactly. It's got a couple of resources on it, mercurite and mundane artifacts, but nothing we can colonize right now.
This desert has robot locals, apparently.
Oh, so Andrew found an anomaly called robot locals, which does...
Whatever civilization once thrived on this planet, all that remains are a rubble of buildings and a strangely helpful and obedient population of robots. Anthropologists may one day determine how and why they were created, but for now their main value is a dedicated and uncomplaining workforce.
And what's that do for you?
+2 gears per person on the planet. Although it's a desert, so I'm probably not going to be colonizing that too soon.
Cool. So I'm going to take a check now that we've established Djruhnke. They are also 70% happiness, and we're making more dust, you'll notice, which is pretty cool. And no production. You see, if we crank tax rate down a little bit, they get more happy, less dust.
Where's the happiness? In your empire management?
Yeah, under your empire management. Less dust. Okay, now they're ecstatic, which I kind of like. I think we're still making dust, we're going to leave him at ecstatic for right now because it's going to give us some more FIDs, and maybe later we'll have to up the tax rate, but let's leave it as is.
Where is happiness on this?
Your approval is your overall
approval,
empire
okay.
approval.
Okay, gotcha.
And
so content.
then each of your systems also have their own individual approval as well.
Content is good enough for me.
So, we got a little notification here. It says, "Great things have small beginnings. Haggard, unsure but full of hope, the first colonists of your faction have set foot on another planet. It may seem trivial, but even the most epic adventures begin with a single step." So, it's a little convincing by the game to make you more sure of yourself. It seems a little silly, but let's get some production on here. So it's a Terran, so we will actually get +1 food on per citizen on the planet, and because it's Terran, an additional +1 food. So we definitely want to exploit it for the food there. And just taking a closer look at this planet screen, this is the FIDs it's making. It says it's an outpost for 30 more turns. That means out here it won't have an area of influence. It's just its own little outpost until 30 turns have passed. The population, 1 out of the possible 6, because we have 1 planet here and 6 bases. If we were to expand to more, it would be 1 out of however many more. And this symbol shows that we have 4 more turns till we gain another person, which is pretty neat. The approval, which we already went over what that means. And if we have a hero governing the system, he would be located right here. These are the resources that are part of the system, either because they develop it, like for example, if we had concrete artifacts on this lava planet, but also if they're connected to other systems in your empire, they would show up here. And then finally, trade routes. You can have trade routes later on in the game between other civilizations, which give you bonus money and science. So we are still researching something. We are saving up money to buy a hero. And I believe our scout is almost out of move. Yep, he's out of move. So we will end the turn there.
I'm going to end my turn too. So you can rename your fleets as well, right?
Yeah. If you here, as soon as the turn ends, I will show everyone how to do that as well. It's really a part of the game where I have not entered much through this tutorial, because really all we have right now is a scout ship, so we don't have an extremely huge military going on right now, but definitely later in the game it becomes a very much bigger component. So let's take a look at it. It's this button right here. It allows you to manage your fleets. As you can see, I only have the 1 fleet, the scout. Once you select it, you can choose to rename it. So I could call it Scout, and it'll refer to the fleet as Scout from then. It shows where it is, its health, its strength, everything that you can see in that lower left hand corner when you select the fleet. It also has the fleet lower down here so you can manage it. And as you accrue more fleets, they will be listed all the way down here. Now also a really cool part of Endless Space and of this menu screen is your ability to design ships. It's completely customizable. They start you off with a couple designs, and as you research more weapon types and design types, you can expand, but you can always add new ships. So you can see the Hawk is good for having support modules on it. It reduces the tonnage expected, and the Kestrel is good at a support module civilian. So this is what you're going to see for putting on a seed mod, which allows you to colonize new planets. So this is really the colony ship. This is more of an early offensive ship that the scouts made from, and you have a limited amount of tonnage which you can put on the ship, and you have different types. There's 3 different types of offensive weapons, 3 different types of defensive armors, and then tons of different support modules which give you little bonuses. Now, one cool thing about this game is the combat is like a rock paper scissors thing, which we'll see later. Basically, you have kinetic, beam, and missile, and those are your rock paper scissors. Now, if you're fighting with a ship that has a bunch of kinetic and maybe some flak defense, and flak will block against missiles, and you fight against a ship that does not have deflect to block against your kinetic attacks and is using missiles to attack you, you should absolutely destroy that person because you've kind of guessed their armor and attack. Now, if they were to come at you with beams and you had no shields on, you would be in some pretty rough shape. So it's kind of a guessing game, and then once you've engaged your enemy, it's a game of who can adapt quicker to the other's strategy, which is pretty neat. So we'll look more into that later.